Yeah, you can. Good. Cause I'm about trying to find everything. How's everyone doing today? Good. Why YouTube not here? Did we move YouTube? No, we did. Can you guys see my channel? Yes, you can. Sorry if I don't see. It's because I am. Oh, hi. How you doing? It's mine because I'm on YouTube.
The video that just came out from Savannah Guthrie is a task. First of all, very emotional, very heartfelt.
Can you hear it?
We should all feel for Savannah and what her family is going through and how they've handled it, frankly, and stayed together with dignity and the insistence on finding their mother. Very brave, very painful. Now, Savannah coming out. And who is she speaking to? People who know. People who know what happened to her mom. That's who she's speaking to. If you follow me on Cuomo Crime Time, you are not surprised by the video that came out today. Why? Because I told you, I gave you my reporting last time I did one of these. And it's on Cuomo Crime Time where you can subscribe right now. My sources tell me they are nowhere. Okay? I know you've been hearing other things. It's the family, it's this, they got a lead, they got that, they got this. They found a tip. It's not true. They are nowhere. And that is why Savannah was encouraged to put out this video. Because they don't want it to be a cold case. They don't want it to be a dead end. And that is why Savannah Guthrie put out this video. And it makes complete sense. And she was certainly within her rights to do it. And I think it made sense to do it. Because they don't have any real leads. They have no idea.
Sorry.
No idea who took Nancy Guthrie. And the two, again, I haven't been able to see the letter in context. And if you guys, wait, I don't want to do this. I don't want moderators. Okay, so you guys are here. You can ask me any questions that you want. Guard your privacy. I don't want to do this either. What is this? Okay, if you guys can hear me and all that, let me know. You got me. And I will tell you that I'm not surprised by this because I have.
Sorry. Give me 1 second, I'm waiting for something. How's everyone doing today? Good? Hello? Resume. Sorry, but I'm back. I continue.
I have been told by my people that and my sources that they are not advancing the story. They're not advancing the investigation. They don't have any idea what happened. I'll tell you what they don't think. They don't think it was a Mexican cartel. They don't think it was a family member. They have absolutely no proof connecting the guy on the porch to anyone else or any organization. That, to me, is the easiest one to understand. Why? You can't look at that video and believe that this guy's a pro and that He knew exactly what he was doing, that there had been thought, that this place had been cased, that they were ready. They had a plan. Doesn't make any sense. It is completely inconsistent. Now, the only way that that goes away is if you believe that the video on the porch is fake, which I know is out there. I think that is a bullshit take. I think it's a bullshit take. Why? There is no reason to believe that there is anything to the idea that it's not exactly what you see it as. Is it extraordinary that they were able to extract it from the metadata? Yeah. Really impressive investigative work. That will be shocking to a lot of you. It is not as shocking to me. I was surprised, but I'm not shocked. Why? Because between my brother having been attorney general and understanding a lot of things about what they could do forensically that I didn't know, and doing this job and understanding things about what they can do forensically, the idea that you delete something and it's gone is really more often called overwriting than it is really removing anything. Even when you delete your deleteds, even when you go to your recently deleted and delete them again, depending on how the servers are operated by the social media companies, depending on what kind of cell service you have, that can mean very. So technologically, it wasn't shocking to me as the way it may be to some, but I did think it was a good piece of investigative work that they got the videos, and the idea that I think the videos are fake because of how they got them just doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for them to be fake. And if they are real, what you see is that this was very ad hoc, meaning what? That this was just like a one-off. This is just what he was doing right then. And he had no plan, and there was nobody coming in the back door. It was not a two-man job. And he's not part of an organization that had a sophistication in this, like a cartel. None of that makes any sense. Is it possible? Yes, but possible with a small p, meaning anything's possible. But there's no reason to believe it. And I think that's a really important distinction that gets lost a lot in these investigations, especially within the true crime space. That it could something be true? Yeah, something could be true. Nancy Guthrie could have been murdered by someone she knows. Okay, it's possible, but not from what we know, not probable. Why? Because when you look at that video, you see a bumbling idiot who all I'll give him is demeanor. Very calm for not knowing where he is and what he's doing, right? He's looking around. What can I use to block this camera? Oh, what's this over here? Not walking fast, not worried about being on camera. So that nonchalance speaks to something. I just don't know what it is.
What does that mean, nonchalance?
And I will take your questions. I prefer if they're about Nancy Guthrie. You said on News Nation, change is coming in this nation. What kind? Well, I think that you're going to see change in the midterms. I also think that you're going to be seeing a change culturally. I think we're going through a shift point. And I'm doing a special tomorrow night on AI because we're definitely going to have to make some choices that we haven't made since the Industrial Revolution, that we haven't seen made in our country specifically since the 1970s. When it's coming out in a Chris Cuomo Project podcast tomorrow, I'm going to take you through the message of wins the midterms because of what I can show you that has been done in this country by choice, not socialism versus capitalism. But let's stick with Nancy Guthrie. Okay. Savannah Guthrie just put out a 1 hour video. I didn't see 1 hour. I saw a short video of her saying it's never too late to come home and do the right thing. And she's right. It is never too late.
Yep.
And I hope that people who know something or were involved or know somebody who was involved, I hope they do come out. And I hope they do speak up, and I hope there is closure on this. And yes, I believe Savannah Guthrie's video is completely consistent with my reporting, which is that they're nowhere. And why? Because if they were somewhere, this is not the video she puts out. I don't think she puts out anything at all. But she certainly doesn't put out anything that is an open-ended, please help us. Okay? You don't have to think he was calm. People don't act like that when they realize they're on camera and they are thinking about committing a crime. I've seen many, many ring videos. I've seen many, many videos of surveillance. People are usually in a rush when they're doing something that is frightening and committing a crime, especially one like this. A burglary with a weapon of an old lady is a scary situation to be in.
It is.
And for him to act that way, something. What it means, I don't know. Okay, but It doesn't matter if you and I disagree about this. Okay, fine. Maybe you're right. He wasn't calm. He just didn't come with a plan and just winged it. He still showed a poise that is unusual. Now, could he have been drugged up? He's not a pro. He's a scumbag. Well, pros are scumbags also if they're in the pro business of kidnapping, right? That is an inherently scumbaggy thing. But he took the time to get an outfit. He took the time to have a weapon. He took the time to hide himself. He took the time to break in. He took the time to cover the camera. He took the time to take an old lady and maybe hurt her and her. And all of that makes him not your ordinary scumbag, okay? And again, Savannah Guthrie coming out with this video validates the reporting that I gave you here as an exclusive that they are nowhere on this case, because she is obviously asking for anything. And she's right to do so. Yep. And I feel for her. And I just want to remind you about why we are here. We are here mostly because crimes are hard to solve, okay? Yeah, and this is not Law and Order. We are also here because the first 48 to 72 hours were not handled right.
They weren't.
And I don't mean as hindsight's 2020. The locals showed, because look, this isn't what they do, okay? And Nanos, he should have brought in the FBI right away. It's not even a close call. And they should have been doing the forensic stuff. They should have been on it from jump. And not doing that was a problem. The letters sent to TMZ, look, all I know is what we know from the authorities, which is they don't believe they're legitimate. Okay? And look, I have to tell you something. And I went through this before, and I'm happy to repeat it, iterate it. These letters are not what I'm used to seeing. These are very transactional. There is no, you're never going to be able to get us again. These are business people. They want to get paid. They want this to work. Okay. Now, if it's a personal agenda and they never wanted to turn her over, well, then the letters still don't make sense. And they just weren't going about it the right way. And they did miss the biggest thing that's always there. That's always the most negotiated thing. And what is most insistent on proof of life. And it's not even referred to. And it bothers me. Does that mean that the letters aren't legitimate?
They're legitimate.
Maybe. Why? Investigators think they are. Well, they're probably right, and I could be wrong. I'm sorry. Why? Because they could still be legitimate because these people don't know what the fuck they're doing. And this is how you do something when you don't know how to do it, which is the wrong way. Okay? Using blockchain, not a shocker to me. Smart, savvy, limits your exposure. Now, doesn't limit it as much as you think, especially if you're unsophisticated. But, wow. Hi there from Taiwan. Cool, right? The reach and the interest in true crime. Wow, thank you. Thank you, ex-record exec, for coming on from Taiwan. That's very cool. I like the idea of us all being connected no matter where we are. Very cool. You can feel like you're never going to know what happened. The chances are you will know what happened.
You'll find out.
This much intensity, this much attention, this much resources over time probably will know what happened to Nancy Guthrie. Probably will. Probably will know what happened with Nolan Wells. Probably will know. Now, you have a lot of advantages in Nolan Wells that you don't have in this investigatively, which is what? Which is the body, right? But is Nancy Guthrie alive? Highly unlikely just by percentages. And alive, I think people would have saw closure of this one way or the other already. If Nancy Guthrie is alive, I think that she's home at this point. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. For Nancy Guthrie and for the Guthrie family, and frankly, for our collective sense of humanity and what's possible in terms of God's grace. Okay? Now, back to what I can show you. These letters are atypical. Okay? How they handled themselves is atypical. Now, that's one of two reasons. One, it's because they're fake, and they're done by some asshole who wanted to be relevant, and they were. The second one is that they don't really know how to do this, but they decided to do it. The idea that this was directed at Savannah is, and it was about some kind of perverse animus, the letters don't comport with that. And the second one really doesn't make any sense. What reason is there to send a letter to tell Savannah and her family or anybody that Nancy Guthrie's dead? Why would you do that? Why would you take an opportunity to have yourself be revealed? Doesn't make sense. Oh, well, they care about the family. They feel bad. No, you don't fucking feel bad. You stole her. You did the worst thing that you could do. So no, I don't buy that at all, as that this is what this is about at all. You are getting the, I don't know, Deb, you threw me there. Was it the FBI that had the metadata pulled? Yes, is my understanding. Is that a hard thing to get done by local officials? Harder than it is for feds, yeah. But locals have a lot of investigative tools also. It just takes more time, and the feds are better at it, and they do it more, and they have easier, quicker reach. If the Guthrie assistant is dead, I don't even know what that means. But I don't know anything about anybody around Savannah Guthrie disappearing, let alone being hurt during this. So I don't know context. I'm sorry. But that second letter doesn't make any sense. Because if you feel bad, you wouldn't have done it. It's not even a close call. I don't know what's up with that second letter. It doesn't make any sense to me. And doesn't make sense to investigators either, by the way.
Nothing makes sense.
But what Savannah is doing makes 100% sense. And she's right to do it. In fact, she should do it on the show. She should remind people on a regular basis. The idea that we need this to be kept separate. Look, as someone who lived through that and paid the price, I even understand somewhat of the rejection of me helping my brother while I was still on TV at CNN. I never covered my brother's situation. I never worked any media sources to help his situation. That is all demonstrably false. Not only am I saying it's not true, I can show you that it's not true. And the biggest indication is, you really believe that I would have worked media sources to help my brother wrongly, and that they wouldn't stand up and say it? What do you think? They're keeping my confidence? They don't want to hurt me? People went out of their way to make sure I got fired. Gratuitously. Okay? So I know what it's like to have a perceived conflict of interest and how that can be reconciled. Savannah Guthrie does not have one that we need to see reconciled. She should be able to on her show whenever she wants. I think it's good journalism. I think it's good for us. I think it's good for our society, and I think it's good for NBC. Okay? That's what I think on all of it. I don't know what WGO means. I watched your 5-hour deposition, and I trust you. Listen, you can believe me, you cannot believe me. The Attorney General sat there with a phalanx of lawyers and came at me for a long time, trying to prove a lot of things. If you look at the report, just Google my name. I was not accused by the AG, who's supposedly a fact-finding probe. It isn't. It's basically an indictment without any charges of my brother. It's obviously a process document.
Thank you.
They accuse me of nothing in it.